Hello and welcome to another one in the series of the Ellis Clark Trains how-to videos. What we're going to cover today are the new Clark Railworks Demountable wagons, which by the time you're seeing this video should now be in our shelves as they're imminently arriving from the factory. What I thought we'd cover today are just some very basic little bits and pieces on it, what the detail pack covers, how you fit them, how to remove the NEM coupling should you wish to, how to remove the demountable tanker, and then further along in the video we're going to do an EM and P4 conversion just to show you how easy it actually is. So first of all then, the demountable wagon itself, as we can see here, doesn't matter what liveries we've got, etc. As it comes straight out of the box, it's ready to go straight onto your layout. There's nothing that you actually need to do unless you want to. Within the detail pack, you'll be thinking, well, I get some extra pieces, do I not need to put them on? We have given you steam heat pipes, which is quite weird on a wagon, because most wagons don't have steam heat. These particular vehicles were fitted with steam heat because occasionally they were actually fitted on passenger workings now and again in their lives. So you get two different styles of steam heat pipes. You get two cosmetic, and by that I mean they're not actually working, chain couplings, and two, once again, cosmetic 3-link couplings. Sorry, screw couplings even. These are not actually working ones, they're just literally plastic moulded if you're sitting the wagon in a static environment on your layout and it wasn't going to be run. So what we'll cover first are those. So looking at the end of the model, we've got the vacuum pipe here. Now on these, they're made in a rubbery plastic, as you can see there. So we can get them fitted even with the NEM coupling because it doesn't foul the actual coupling itself. The steam heat pipe are made out of the same material, as you can see. So they won't foul. However, the screw coupling, should you be fitting it, you would have to remove the NEM coupling. Now, to remove the NEM coupling itself, all you do underneath, if you look, you've got the NEM pocket that's wiggling there, and you've got the coupling. If you just grab the vehicle in your thumb and forefinger, holding it on the sole bar, and just pull away, the coupling will come out like so. Should you want to remove the actual coupling itself, all you then do is remove the brake gear ever so slightly, like so it's loose. And then if you remove the wheel, like so, and drop that out as a unit, you can then get in underneath there and just pop out that piece. Then with a posi drive screwdriver, there's a little posi drive screw, remove the screw. There's the tiny little screw on the end of the screwdriver, and then the block will just come away then and just wiggle itself out like so. Okay, just wiggle it out. It's not actually fastening anything on the wagon, but it just needs to come away like so. So we'll pop that back in just so that you can see. Screw next. I'm using a magnetic screwdriver so it makes life a little bit easier. Little posi drive screw into there. Tighten that back up. We'll then pop the wheel set back in, like so. Just pull the W iron slightly apart, drop the wheel set in. In she goes into there, into there like that. Next thing is to just gently reinstate the brake blocks into the little dovetail slot that they go into, like so, on both sides. And that's the wheel now reinstated. And then you can then put your little tongued and grooved part of the NEM socket back in. And then your coupling straight in, like so. And let it click in, just make sure it's clicked in. If you are wanting to fit the steam heat pipe, the steam heat pipe just needs to be glued just down there like so, as you can see. Okay, but it will slightly foul the movement of the NEM socket. So I would say if you're using NEMs, you might not want to fit it. It is more for fitting with working screw couplings, etc. So if you're wanting to use the cosmetic couplings, remove the NEM coupling. You've got the actual hook itself on the end of the wagon, and down the hook you will see there's a little groove cut out. It fits into that groove like so and just pulls in. That's all you do with it. Into the groove like so, and it just sits there cosmetically like that. Okay, that's it, that's all it does. But they are cosmetic. Next little item we'll show is the tanker itself are fastened on, but they will just pop off. So the first thing you need to do is to remove these little chain hooks, which are these, as you could see them coming off then. If you just pull them off with your fingers, they are in a plastic that is quite a rubbery plastic. Round we go, just do all 4 of them, just pull them off. You probably hear, I don't know if you can hear on the video, a little clicking noise. That's them pulling away. There we go, that's them off. The next thing is your container then will just wiggle off like so. If you look onto the model itself, you can see there's some little brass chemically blackened chains on each corner. These are going to be available as a separate part if you wanted a spare one to put on the back of a wagon or having a loading area or something like that. Also, just a quick point on these chains, I don't know if you can see them there on the video, but they're a beautiful representation of a lockdown chain. Quite useful for putting wagon loads on maybe Lomax. I think we produced a Lomax last year. Maybe quite good for gluing onto the front of a tractor or armoured vehicles on other manufacturers' wagons. They would also be very nice to be used on conflat containers from other manufacturers. The part that's sort of not on them but was very visual in real life. And very soon these will be available as an accessory in a little packet, and you'll be able to just glue them onto other models and they will just finish the scene quite nicely. So that's the container coming off. Refitting of the container straight back on like so. Get hold of your chain. This bit is a little bit fiddly, I'm not going to deny it. I find if you put them on with a pair of tweezers or a pair of pliers, hook them through and then pull against it and they will start to go in. I use a pair of tweezers. There we go. That's the first one clipped back in. And you can see a little bit faffy, but once they're in perfectly. They don't fall out. They're in position. So that's the first part of the video. We'll just move on to the other wagon, which is the propeller carrying wagon. Now, the propeller carrying wagon uses the same floor as the other wagons. However, there are some slight differences in the fact that it's off-centered. It will only go in one way. If you notice here, you've got some plates that stop the load from moving, and they correspond with this area here, and there's some little lugs here that go down and correspond with the floor. The bottom of the propeller fits in the gap here on this side of the air tank. So it won't go in that way, it goes in that way, down and in. And that's her fitted into the lugs. Like I say, the next part of the video we're going to cover is going on to EM and P4. It does tell you how to do all this in the booklet that comes with the model. Everything's covered in there, but it just thought it'd be nice to do a little video on it and just showing some little bits and pieces. So we'll just have a quick pause there, and I'll just rejiggle my tools, etc., and get some wheels ready, and we'll do an EM and a P4 conversion. I just thought I'd include this in the video just so that people that do model in those scales can just see how easy it actually is on these models. We have designed it in. In front of me, I've got a P4 wheel set, 3-hole disc, and an EM wheel set, 3-hole disc. They've come from the normal supplier. These came from Andrew at Model Signal Engineering, Comet Models at Doncaster. I've done nothing with the wheels. They're just straight out of the box. They're in a little box here, just for us to put in and out of models. So the first thing that you do, turn the model upside down. I've already covered removing the NEM pockets, etc., which is probably something that an EM and P4 modeler will be doing because they're probably fitting fine scale couplings to it. I'm assuming you're going to fit your fine scale couplings sort of at this stage and then go into the wheel conversion. You probably see already this wheel I've already done. This one is in P4. This one's still in 00. So the first things that you need to do is, with a pair of tweezers, I'm going to try to do it facing the camera rather than doing it this way to me. Get hold of the brake gear and just wiggle it a little bit and it'll come out of its little sockets. So I'm just holding the brake block arm and just wiggling them about. I'm going to take this out with the wheel. Grasping hold of the W iron, just pull the wheel set out like so. And same on the other side of the W iron, and we've now lifted up the brake gear and the wheel set, as you can see. To show you that everything's really quick and easy to EM and P4, ignore the brake gear for a moment. We're just going to put a wheel set in. This one's an EM wheel set. Straight in. There's no filing, changing, grinding, cutting or anything. That wheel set straight in. You could probably see it's spinning lovely. That's an EM wheel setting. P4 wheel set, we'll do exactly the same with, straight in. These are designed for 26mm axles from the start. Just pop her in. There we go. P4 wheel set, straight in. Everything's in as it should be. So technically now we've brake gear on one end, not the other. Okay, we'll take the wheel set back out only because I'm going to now show you how to put the brake gear back in. Okay, so there's the 3 components of the brake assembly laid out for you. They come apart quite easily. What I would suggest is, if you're putting it to EM or P4 now, the easiest way of doing this is to probably run some super glue along the bottom of that bar there and reinstate it back into the wagon. I'm not going to do it on this because I am going to put it back to 00 once the video is finished, because obviously these are display models for shows. So all it does, you can see there's a slot here. Just there and there. There's a slot. I'll take this one back out to show you again. Slot there. All it does, I'm trying to do it with tweezers so my fingers don't get in the way, but you could probably do it with your fingers really, just as easy. It just slots into there like so. Make sure it's fully down, which would benefit now from being glued in here, look. We're just going to put that and that one in. The conversion is quicker than the actual talking about it, to be perfectly honest with you. Next one, I'll just get an EM wheel set for this one. I'm an EM modeler, so it's what I'm used to using. In it goes, into there as normal, pop her in. Try to put it in a position. I'll use the cradle so you can see better without my fingers holding it. Pull the W iron away. pull the W-iron away, put my fingernail down it, pop it in. That's the wheel set in as such now in EM. Last one is to put the pull rods in. As you can see there, it goes like so. That piece goes towards the front. There's little holes for it to go into that you can see on the side there, on the brake gear, on the brake shoes itself. Push them in on each one. Same on this side. That one's just popped out. There you go, that's them in now, and that, as you can see there, is an EM wheel set, quite happily spinning away. As I've said, I think you would probably benefit from gluing those in if you're doing EM or P4 permanently. And that's how to EM and P4 the model. So before we finish, I'm just going to quickly show you again, stripping it down. We're just going to pull it all back out, everything out on here, ready to reassemble. This time she's going to go back in double O, into there like so. That's all it is. And that's the double O wheel set back in, as you can see. Just have to put the brake gear back on. And that concludes the video on the demountables. Like I say, by the time this video's out, they will be probably in our showroom ready for dispatch to yourselves. Thank you very much for watching. If you've any more questions on the demountables at all, please either drop a quick comment below, or if you want to, drop an email to ellisclarktrains.com where they will be passed through the system to myself. And in the meantime, check out the rest of our videos, and I'll see you on the next video.